I'd like to start this morning and share a little story, with your permission. Growing up as a kid, I was always fascinated by magicians. David Copperfield, etc., etc. How they did these illusions, and we all know they were illusions. But I was fascinated. The simplest of little tricks, which we've all seen, where they used to pull the coin from the ear. How do they do that? How? Why? I was fortunate enough recently to stumble upon a YouTube video where a magician actually gave away his trade secrets. Intently I watched to see exactly what he did, how he did it, and when he did it. And ultimately, what it got down to was that he created a distraction. His words guided you to look where he wanted you to look, not where you should be looking. His words led you subconsciously to be aware of things that he wanted you to be aware of, not what you needed to be aware of. Now, many of you are probably asking, Con, what's the point of the story? The point is this. For many of us, we have deep-seated habits which are distracting our audience from our message. These come from many, many years of being told you're too loud, you need to be quiet. You should be seen and not heard. Hurry up, speak quicker, I don't have time. And on and on. These habits are so deeply ingrained in our psyche, we're not even aware of them for the majority of times. I can tell you, I can get up in the morning, I can walk from my bedroom to the coffee machine, turn the coffee machine on, make my first cup of coffee without even thinking about it, because it's habitual. And I want to ask you, how many times have you been driving somewhere, which is somewhere where you go every single day, all the time, and you've got there, and you don't even remember how you got there, because it's such a habit. Yeah? We all have a level of expertise in our chosen field. And every single day we're involved in a conversation. We're trying to influence, we're trying to persuade. And one of the questions that I ask every single time in the beginning of my workshops is, who in the room is in sales? And invariably, there is always a group of people who don't put their hands up. Now, I want you to ask yourself that question. I don't want a response. But here's the thing, for those of you that think you're not in sales, surprise, you are. Everyone is in sales. Whether it's getting your kids to go to bed at night, whether it's getting your partner to buy you that new $25,000 pink diamond ring, whether it's buy your product or service, every single one of us is in some form of sales. And once we understand that, and we get our heads around that, everything that we do in terms of our habits, which are distracting people from your message, it changes the whole dynamic and the whole perspective. Every one of us have got a message, irrespective of what it's about, that's important to the world. Is it about saving lives? Is it about increasing your business profits? Is it about saving money on your tax and not getting in jail from the tax office? Everybody needs to hear that message. You need to share that message. But if you're distracting through your habits, people don't get it. And you ultimately are depriving them of that valuable information that can make a difference to their lives. Thanks to millions and millions of years of evolution, our brain works in a unique way. And the first thing that we need to do is create engagement. The most primal part of our brain is only interested, is this interesting or is it not interesting? Have I got your attention? Do I not have your attention? The process is the process and it's nature, and you can't get around it. You can't talk yourself out of it or into it. It is the process. Undisputable, undeniable. The first thing you must do is have attention. They must be engaged. Credibility. The brain wants to know, are you credible? Is the information that you're sharing with me of value? Is it credible? You're making it up? Credibility. And let me tell you, as a speaker, as a presenter, and I just want to preface this by saying, I get people all the time saying, Con, well, you know, I don't want to speak in public. I don't want to stand on a stage. That's not what I want to do. But guess what? Whether you're having a one-on-one conversation or whether you're talking to 1,000 people in a room, it's public speaking. And the same rules apply. The same rules apply. If I'm sitting down with Gail and I'm trying to convince her, persuade her to take a course of action, and she's not engaged, I don't have her attention, what's the likelihood that I'm going to get any further? Probably about 0. And so make that distinction. Don't just assume that it's only one-on-one, it doesn't matter. It does, big time. Authority. People want to know you're an authority on your chosen field. Ron demonstrates his authority in the podcasting area, the broadcasting area. Most of you have attended today. Why? Obviously, great company, lovely breakfast. But to listen to me as somebody, as an authority in my field. Not to listen to me stand up here for 15, 20, 25 minutes, half an hour, prattle on about an area or a topic that I have no idea what I'm talking about. And so authority, our ability to demonstrate our authority in our chosen field, is super, super, super important. Now, the question here is, how do we create engagement? How do we show credibility? And how do we demonstrate authority? Or going back to my magician story, is what are many people doing to not create engagement not show credibility, and any authority that they may have from the perceived transaction, destroy it. And it's three things. It's how we use our body language, it's how we use our voice, and our language, i.e. our words. Because all three things combined will either distract your audience or they'll engage them and draw them in. So they're an attentive audience. They're listening. They're engaged. People say, Con, I have I'm a slow talker, or Con, I'm always putting my hands in my pockets, or I'm scratching my head. No, you don't. You have a habit of doing it. Everything, we're just this massive combination of habits, good or bad, but everything we do is habitual. From brushing our teeth in the morning, to the way we dress ourselves, to the way that we speak, the way that we engage with an audience, everything is habitual. It's a habit. And my job today is to raise your awareness of potentially what some of those distracting habits are that are not allowing you to create that engagement and ultimately influence and persuade your audience, your customer, or your children to do what you really, really want them to do. How many times do you see somebody walk up to a stage or walk into a meeting and it's, or we're distracted by motion. I could be telling you that I've just won $1 million, but if you're focused on my hands going all over the place, in my pocket, scratching my head, playing with my earlobes, ladies playing with your hair, what do you think is happening? And what these signals give to your audience is they diminish your authority as an expert, because it gives the appearance, I'm nervous, I'm anxious, I have to talk for how long? And people sense that and they see that. It's a bit like dogs. They can sense fear a mile away in people. Absolute mile away. And so our body language, we need to be conscious. And by the way, if everybody's thinking, great, how do I solve it? Stay tuned. Our body language needs to be positive. Science tells us that just standing upright improves your confidence by up to 25%. And let me tell you, unless there's a physiological problem, you've got a bad back or a limp or whatever, everybody, without exception, can stand upright with their shoulders back. The first step. What perception are you, or would you have had of me, if I had have been standing there going, there's a fair chance that everybody would be looking for a refund. We need to be conscious of our body language. We have one of the most powerful instruments in the world, our voice. And many of us treat it like a throwaway 15-cent toy. It's so, so powerful. The way that we speak, the tonality that we use. We can say the same phrase with 3 different tones, completely different meanings. Gail, what time will you be home? Gail, what time will you be home? Gail, what time will you be home? Now, it's exactly the same words, different tonality, completely different meaning. And what about those, I think maybe we can, I think, and so let's do this, and so maybe, hey, it's a habit, and it's a habit that is distracting. I've spoken to people who, in 15 words, there are 10 ums and I thinks. What message am I getting? What message, if that's what you do, what message are you portraying with regards to A, your area of expertise, your credibility, your authority? You're not. You're not. Our words are so, so powerful. I learned recently that in ancient Rome, rhetoric was a compulsory subject ahead of mathematics. That's how highly rhetoric was valued. Our ability to use rhetorical devices, our language, which can influence people. We can change people's emotional state with the words that we say. Everybody wants certainty. We want certainty. You go to the doctor, your bad knee, you sit down and he says, yeah, Con, look, I'm looking at your x-rays. Yeah, look, I think we could probably do that. And, look, maybe if we do that, there's an element of success. Yeah, I think, probably. What certainty do you have or do I have in my doctor's credibility and authority in his chosen field? We use soft language all the time. I think, maybe. How about, in my opinion? How about, I believe? How about, in my experience? Does that provide a bit more credibility? Does that show you as an authority in your chosen field? And of course, I'm going to end on my absolute favourite. Elton John wrote a song once called "Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word." You know what? Sorry has become a throwaway line. We've been browbeaten to say sorry for breathing air. Pete, I'm really sorry that I breathed that little bit of air there, mate. Really sorry. Oh, look, sorry, John, my chair got in your way. And how many times have you been late for a meeting and the first utterances that come out of your mouth, sorry, I'm late? Every time you apologise, whether in a speaking situation, in a sales situation, being late, every time you apologise, you are peeling a layer of your credibility away, one by one. slowly destroying your credibility. How about, instead of, sorry I'm late, how about, Gail, thanks for your patience. Appreciate you waiting. Try that. And of course, the comeback that I always get, people go, well, Con, I was late, I need to apologise. No. The question that you need to ask yourself is, what was my intent? Was it my intent to be late and disrupt the meeting? If it's your intent, that's a different kettle of fish. If you've intentionally gone out of your way to be disruptive, hurt somebody, that's great. Apology. But if that's not your intent, sorry again is, ingrained. We've been told, you've got to apologise, you have to apologise. It's a habit. Now, I'm going to give you a little strategy here for the serious players, and I got this from one of Adelaide's favourite sons and one of the best speakers in the world, Vin Zhang. And for those of you who know Vin, he is just an amazing human being, and I follow his content intently. So credit this to Vin. This is not my idea. I wish it was, but it's not. What Vin says is record yourself. Get a little camera, your phone, and record yourself. After that, turn it upside down so you can only hear yourself. And write down, what do you like? What don't you like about your voice? What was it? Then, turn it up, turn off the sound, watch. What habits do you have that you are now aware of that you didn't have before? When I first started speaking, one of the things that I was told regularly was that I move around on stage too much. A bit like the ducks in the, shooting galleries. And of course, I said, rubbish, what do you know? And sure enough, somebody recorded me, and guess what? I did. I was all over the place. So look and see, what are you doing? What do you like? What don't you like? And then finally, take that recording and get it transcribed. Rev.com, I'm sure there's a million places in the world that you can get it done nowadays. And get this transcription back and have a look at it and count the ums, so, I think, maybe, etc., etc., etc. Because here's the thing, because everything is, our habits are so deeply ingrained, we're just not aware of them. But what that will do will raise your awareness, and then you have a choice. Do you do something about it, or do you just accept that it is what it is? And so my final message for you for today is, you have a message. Every one of you, whether it's through your business, whether it's through your foundations, whatever it is, you have a message. And you're doing the world a disservice if you're not getting your message through. Thank you.